You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are The Breakfast Club. We have some special ladies with us this morning from Black Enterprise.
Yes, hello.
Hey, what's happening?
And?
I didn't know your name. They didn't have your name on the sheet. So I was asking for Yee to help me out, but Yee was ignoring me.
We were deep in conversation.
We were
No,
saving
sorry.
the world over here. I am Stacy Tisdale, and I'm the Senior Editor of Personal Finance.
Good morning, Stacy Tisdale.
Good morning.
I am Sirita Wright. I am the social media manager.
Hey,
Sarita's been
Wright.
here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having us again.
Thanks for coming.
Now we were just talking about when you so rudely interrupted us. We were talking about behavioral finance.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So explain what that is.
A lot of financial planners, a lot of people in the industry have realized that when they're talking to people about money, that they reach a point where they're not talking about numbers anymore. And how you feel about yourself, the way women feel about themselves when it comes to money, the way black people feel about themselves when it comes to money. What you believe is actually what you're going to do. Mm-hmm. So you have to give people tools to kind of look at what buttons are pushing them and show them how that plays out in their financial behavior so that they can stand up against those influences.
Right. So give us some examples of what you mean, like as far as how you feel about yourself.
There is a long-standing pattern in the black community, for example, of blacks shying away from financial institutions. Mm-hmm. And it was, and that's
true,
challenging right now because while we always talk about things like the pay gap, the wealth gap, then blacks always see themselves as being at the bottom of that gap. Mm-hmm. But in reality, blacks earning $75,000 or more a year are the fastest growing income group in the world.
Right.
Mm.
But if you have that kind of, gap mentality, you're going to make decisions accordingly. And just not making decisions to build wealth, kind of living beyond your means.
Oh, yeah.
Not investing.
Stunting for the gram.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think black people make bad decisions when it comes to money just because we're used to not having it?
I don't think that anybody should see themselves as making bad decisions when it comes to money. It's you make what you know, but you have to look at how our history is playing out in things. I did a piece this week. Last week, the Treasury named their Treasury Annex building. They renamed it the Freedmen's Bank.
Okay.
Abraham Lincoln, and when he freed the slaves, he opened the Freedmen's Bank so that blacks, the 4 million black slaves who had just been released, and black veterans would have a place to save, grow, and learn about money. Within 10 years, remember this is just out of slavery, these people generated $53 million. They started community organizations and everything, but the bank went under due to corruption. And instead of giving the money back to the slaves, the money was never taken. Ooh. The money was taken. That was a huge, huge opportunity. Think about that, what that would have been today, how it would have been turned over in land to create wealth in the black community. And it was one of the first, it shows you how deep and how back it goes for us not to trust the financial community. Bring it forward, and today you have a housing crisis where blacks were targeted with predatory lending and practices like that, and you understand why they shy away from financial institutions. But we have to look at things like how debt reduction, we struggle, more than other groups with debt, not just because we're bad with money, but a lot of socioeconomic, factors. We don't get paid as much for the same jobs. There are things like unemployment. There are real things that we have to face, but we have to start looking at there's more to us than that. So we have to kind of, step away from some of that programming.
And you don't have to just jump full force in. I mean, a lot of the pieces that Stacy writes, she helps you to ease yourself in. There's different apps that you can download, like Smarty Pig if you want to save for a vacation, if you want to
I
save
do that.
for
I
a
save for
house.
vacation.
Smarty Pig's
Smarty
great.
Pig.
I don't eat pork.
Well, you don't have to eat this app, but, but, and that's a way to automate your savings for a specific goal. She also introduced us to Acorn, so she has the whole office, investing.
My son's made a fortune
Her
on
son
that.
is making
Really?
money. So there's easy
Acorns,
ways to come in and
What is
invest.
Acorn?
Yeah, what is Acorn?
Acorns, it's an app that you download. I think it costs $1 a month or something. And what they do is you put in your debit card information, and every time you buy something, suppose you buy something for $2.60, it's going to round up, so it'll take that 40 cents and it invests it.
Oh, really?
So it's just investing your spare change. You're not even thinking about it. The best thing about financial planning, makes stuff automatic. So my 10-year-old started doing this, I think, in July, and I'm just kind of checking out the account. He's made $700.
Wow.
Because that money goes straight into the stock market. You got to make it automatic.
Now, you said there's no such thing as making bad decisions when it comes to money?
You have to look at the whole.
What if I buy 5 Phantoms and I only got $1 million?
That's just not a smart move.
That's
not a great investment.
That's not a great investment.
That's not a great investment. What you have to look at, the financial planning, it's not complicated. First of all, you got to get a clear picture of your goals. And I mean, get real about that. Think about what's important to you, your priorities, get a real vision of the life you want to live, and figure how much it costs. And then you start having to ask yourself every time you spend money, is this in line with my goals? Why am I trying? If not, why am I spending this money? And you can't think of things like budgeting. I'm good with money. I'm bad with money. We want to take some of that judgment out. You want to just start getting to the place where you channel all of your resources towards the life you want to live. Then you'll see how much money you're spending on things that aren't important to you, but things that social messages might be telling you are important to you. But we're all human beings, so we're all subject to this conditioning. So I always try to encourage people, get away from bad, I'm good, or this group is that, or this group is that. But Black people really need to ask themselves, what do I see people like me doing when it comes to things like saving? What do I see people who look like me doing when it comes to investing? And are those messages serving me? And at some point it becomes personal. And
you have to get goal-oriented. I think,
exactly.
And we were just talking about buying that house. To me, I was like,
very proud of you for that.
Thank you. I was like, I have to buy a house. And it was difficult because I didn't know anything. So what I had to do was different people tell you different things. Like one realtor might say, okay, you can put down 5% and then, you only need a little bit of money to be able to buy a house. But then I was like, all right, perfect. I'm thinking I just need 5%, but it turns out I don't want to pay mortgage insurance. So in order to do that, I have to put down 25%. And then in order to do that, I had to really budget myself and say, there's a lot of expenses that I have that I don't need to have. I like to buy things for myself. I waste money all the time. I go on vacations. I take my friends out to eat. I cut back on everything.
I don't think vacations is a waste. So I think when you're paying for experiences, that's a good thing.
Yeah, sometimes. But if you're trying to buy a house, sometimes you have to sacrifice certain things for a period of time. And I didn't look at it like I'm never going on vacation again. I looked at it like, okay, for 2 years, I'm going to just have to sit back and, maybe I'll book something somewhere where I get a free vacation out of it and stay for an extra 2 days instead of me.
Timeshare.
Just think of different things that you can do.
A good rule of thumb when it comes to housing is you really shouldn't spend more than 30% of your after-tax income on all your housing expenses.
Which is hard in New York, by the way.
Yes.
In particular.
And then there's New York rules. Which is a whole different deal.
But I mean, the key is that you took the time to learn and ask those questions. And there's a lot of free resources and a lot of free information out here that you can use to empower yourself. And that's really what it is, just taking the time and saying, I want to learn more about this. I want to better myself, my situation, and just going out there and doing what's necessary. I mean,
that look like the
really
credit card
simple.
people calling you, by the way.
You know what? Listen.
I look like a bill
Let me
collector.
tell you, this could be one or two people. It could be Mike Murdoch, who is a pastor, who sends text messages and he leaves voicemails. Or it could be Sally Mae, because me and Sally Mae have been going through some things, and I have a lot of questions. So it could be Sally Mae.
Student loans.
But even with that, I know the last time I came, I definitely shared, the financial mistakes that I made that, I'm still paying for, but I've learned so much more. Right. I am investing my money. I am taking advantage of, these apps and things like this. I am seeing my money growing. I am paying off other debts. So, I'm in a whole different space where before I was like, I'm not opening up that mail.
Right.
I'm not doing this today.
I did that for a while.
You just don't open it like it's going to go somewhere.
I know. That's human, though.
That's the worst thing.
But one of the things that she touched on that Blacks, people of color have more than other groups, issues with student loan debt. Right. And some of the most popular stories that I've done is people don't realize some of the resources that are out there to help them pay for student loan debt. For example, President Obama started the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, whereas if you work, I think it's 8 years, and they don't have to be consecutive in public service. And I'm talking almost so many things count as public service that you wouldn't think
Give
of.
some examples.
Radio.
You can work for nonprofits. There's special loan forgiveness programs for police. There's special loan forgiveness programs for teachers. But if you work for this amount of time, your student loan debt is forgiven.
Woo.
Really?
Also,
8 years.
If you work for certain government agencies, you can get, I believe it was $64,000 toward your student loan debt, like the Department of education. If you go on the government website, you can see the government agencies where you can get your student loan debt forgiven. A lot of people don't think to ask, but especially young people and millennials, when you get a new job, ask your employer to pay your student loan debt. Think of it, ask for, just like you'd ask for, a retirement plan or a 401k plan. What they might ask for in return is, I'll pay your student loan debt, but you have to commit to stay here for 3 years.
I would never think to ask for that.
I'm just saying it's not, that's why I don't want people to think they're bad with money. There's so much out there that we don't know about.
You don't have the information.
Just have the information. And especially, we don't have a history of wealth because we've had these awful things happen to us, like, what I was talking about with the Freedmen's Bank. And then, at the Great Migration, when you had 5 million blacks move north, they didn't understand the value of the land they were walking away from the South, which could have been turned over for millions. They were walking away because of, horrible racist things. But so we're new in this game. And I want black people to be really proud of themselves because we are only a couple of generations from all of this nonsense. And we are the fastest, earning $75,000 and more, the fastest growing income group. So changing that mentality to one of power versus one of lack, that's going to influence your decisions as well.
Wow. So
And also, don't be afraid to
I
ask
didn't know
for a
anything about the
raise.
financial financial student
Yeah.
loan
Yeah,
thing.
no,
Well, Charlamagne got
I
a
know
student
from
loan.
now on you're going to read my work all the time, right? So you
Absolutely.
learn
I
stuff
read a lot
like
of
that.
articles on Black Enterprise.
You share a lot of
Stacy
articles.
Tisdale.
That's
Thank
interesting
you.
you said that because all I hear is people always complaining about student loans. Like
Yeah.
my wife has student loans. She complains. And I'm going to pay them off, but it's like if I knew that, now I'm going to make her get a job as a public
For
servant.
8 years.
And now the president came out, income-based repayment. You're not going to have to pay, put more than 10% of your income. There's a lot that can be done with student loans. We write about this a lot. I'd love to, if anyone has questions, you can reach me on Twitter at @stisdale1. But,
You just trying
there's
to get
just
your
a lot.
followers up. I see you.
But
I'm
don't.
trying- why do I want to get my followers up? I know this stuff. I'm here to share it. I can sit in my house by myself and have my nice financial statements. I don't have to do this.
That's true.
So I'm sharing it. So again, @stisdale1. That's TISDALE1.
And don't
Stacy.
ignore those student loans. If you have to defer them, you can definitely defer your student loans. The worst mistake you can make is to just act like they don't exist and ignore them and just ignore Sally Mae and all of that.
It's sad what they're doing to the world. I spoke to a group of students at Wright University in New Jersey. To hear the different decisions they're making because they have so much student loan debt. Oh, I'm not going to get married. I'm not going to have kids. I'm not going to buy a house. So the student loan crisis has become so big. It's affecting the dynamics of the country. We're seeing birth rates down and all of this kind of stuff, and
you're
all because
seeing-
of student loan
you're
debt.
seeing less people actually even enroll in college just because of the thought of, I'm going to have to repay these huge amounts of money. So
Right.
you see, less people going to school.
And there's all kinds of scholarships available that people don't even know about.
There's almost a scholarship for anything.
everything, yeah.
I wrote a book, and one of the chapters we were looking at was, how to pay for education. And I found a scholarship, a bagpipe scholarship. I mean,
If you can play the bagpipe?
if you can play the bagpipe, there's scholarships for everything
There's
out
something
there.
out here for you.
There's definitely. So look for it.
I had
How
a
do you
party when I
encourage
paid
kids
off
to
my
go to
student
school?
loan.
Being like, for these kids that do feel like, I don't want to go to school because it's going to be debt. What's the benefit of going to school?
Well, I'm just to say this. One of the things we did over Thanksgiving, we did a Be Thankful campaign, and we asked people internally in the office to say, why are you thankful for your college education? And the most consistent thing is that it really laid a foundation for them to really build upon. They started to really get those tools that you need to build a business or navigate your career. So it's still a great foundational space. You don't necessarily have to go to a 4-year college or a 2-year school. There's, online learning. There are great women out here and men out here that have, courses online. There's Skill Crush. There's, a lot of online free places that you can learn and educate yourself.
And a couple of other things I would say. Sometimes people go to college not sure what they want to do, and then
that's
you can
a waste of money.
And you
It
can, but you can
huge
really go to
expense.
college and figure out what you
Absolutely.
might change your mind. You might think, okay, I wanted to do this, but now I went to college, I took these courses, and now I'm interested in this. Also, you get to meet other like-minded people that are in your classes with you, that are interested in the same thing. That you graduate, they help you get a job, you help them get a job. It's a networking thing.
Absolutely.
A lot of
Excellent
people I
point.
went to school with, we've helped each other out. We've gotten each other checks. We've hired each other. There's a great alumni program. I went to Wesleyan. there's a lot of people that went to Wesleyan, even my high school, people that went to my high school that, hey, we have this job opening or we have this networking event. You graduated from here. We want to help an alumni out.
That's an excellent point. And people also have to realize there's different strategies for paying for college. We have this thing in our mind, I have to go to college X so I can get a good job. Companies are really going to look at where you graduated from. So you might 2 years at a community college and then 2 years at, a state college or a bigger college is one strategy for going to college. There's, just all sorts of different things out there, and people should really consider. I majored in international business and finance, and I'm a broadcast journalist. Your major doesn't always have to be specifically what you're going to go in. So you want to pick majors that you can finish in a semester and take other supplemental classes and different things. There's different strategies out there. And there's a great read by a woman called Marcia Cantarella called I Can Finish College that has some amazing things like that. And I did a story recently that a lot of parents responded to. Have to pay for their kids' college, think out of the box as well. A lot of parents don't think of it, but if you get a life insurance policy for your child, it's probably the last thing you want to think about it. But if you get a cash value, they're called VULs, life insurance policy for your child, you can save money and it's going into the markets. So it's being invested. You can grow money from your child from, that very young age. One, that's good for them because the older you get, the harder it is and more expensive it is to have life insurance. So they're done. They have it for their family. But two, you can take the cash out of that policy, penalty, and use it for anything.
Penalty free.
Yeah, if you do a 529 plan, they're great. But if you can't use those expenses for anything other than education. But there's a lot of things out there to think outside the box, and the information is out there.
I use that for my kids. Well, I will use it for my kids. I have it in the kids now, so that way I won't get taxed on it and I won't be penalized for certain things if I use it for education. But you know what a lot of people don't know, and they try to save money, and I see them doing it all the time on social media. They don't know how much of their salary or how much the money that they bring that they can use for bills, for personal use, or for savings. And for savings, what can they do? Because a lot of times their money is not that much, and they think it's so small, so they're like, well, why should I try to invest it? So what do you tell the people? What do you think the people
I make
should do?
$400 a week.
400, say 1,000 a week. Yeah, 1,000 a week.
Okay. The first thing you have to do, to start out on a good financial plan. I'm doing it right now with a spending app. I start every year. I want everybody to, for at least 2 weeks, just write down everything you spend. Just keep track of everything you spend. You're going to notice places in that where you could save. You also want to get a hold of your debt levels, invest, do all of those things. But there's a mentality out there, to your point about, investing is you need a lot of money to invest. You can go to a company like TD Ameritrade, go to their online site, and for $50 you can open an investment account. And you can buy, I would tell someone who's just getting into investing to buy something called an SPY. Just remember that symbol, SPY. It's an exchange-traded fund that mimics the S&P 500, but you can invest for small amounts. I just did a story. I believe the website, and I'll get it for you guys, is stockpile.com, where just like you buy a gift card, you can $25, you can buy a stock card. So you have a little piece of Apple. You have a little piece of things, but there's a lot of ways out there to get started investing for very small amounts of money. Acorns, $1 a month. You're not even thinking about it.
I'm doing this for my son right now because he invests a lot and he's into that. Like
that's awesome.
He
What's
does
he
the
like
penny
to
trading.
do?
He does penny stocks. What he does, this is how he makes
Stocks.
money, which is amazing. He plays Madden on his video games and he wins coins, and then he sells those coins to grown men. And grown men, my PayPal, I have $50. $100 where men pay that much money for these coins.
Don't let him meet up with them
like
in
I
person.
really had to find out. I had
He
to,
sells his coins?
the coins, the fake coins that he wins on Madden, sells them to grown men, and they pay cash for them.
Why do they want them?
Because you can make your own players. If you play those type of games, you can make your own players. Like I thought
My
he was selling
son does
drugs.
this all the time. I'm
It
telling
was so
him.
much money. I thought it was drugs. I was like, you have to show me what you're doing because I don't believe you. And he showed me he's making a lot of money. So now I'm showing him how to invest. So Acorn is something that he can see on his app, on his phone.
Oh, yeah.
He will love that. I wasn't sure. So they should link to the checking account because I'm at the last step right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're doing it right now.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
so
doing it
cute.
right now.
He's not playing.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
That's so cute.
And I
Yeah.
love the Acorn because you can choose the markets. So like
Little
you're doing
kids, you
S&P,
do
I'm doing
S&P,
emerging markets.
S&P,
so it's
S&P.
really cool.
Yeah,
When
I
it
did
comes to
children.
investing, just a little rule of thumb, money that you don't need for 5 years. Like, suppose you're retiring in 5 years, you need money in 5 years.
Don't.
It should be in cash or
Right.
maybe bonds or something. But money that you're not going to use for at least 10 years, everybody, the stock market, regardless of the ups and downs, the U.S. stock market has averaged since its inception an annual yield of about 9%. Mm-hmm. You're not going to beat that anyway. Not just U.S. stocks, but if you don't know that much about investing, just remember again that SPY, that S&P 500. It's like a security that'll give you a little piece of all of the 500 companies in the S&P 500. So you're diversified. And you can get into these things for, with your acorn. Right. That's like dollars and cents a month. And then the thing of it is, once you see these little things growing, like even if you're only making $400 a month, you're getting spare change.
Right.
$400 a week, like you said, you're getting spare change. Once you see these things growing, it starts to motivate you. Mm-hmm. It starts to change how you feel. And that shift in that mindset is what's really going to start making a difference.
What's some good things to invest in this year, in 2016?
Well, I'm going to say cannabis.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot. I did a big story on the 411 on investing in 420. It's one thing about the cannabis market. We covered a cannabis investor
series
yesterday. It's if I was an investor, like just getting started in the market, I don't know that I'd make it my primary investment because the industry, they're still...
It's not legal everywhere.
It's not legal everywhere. But even the places it is legal, they don't have banks, like they're not allowed to bank. So a lot of the companies here's these stories of these big robberies because it's still a cash business.
Right.
So...
but they are opportunities because there's cannabis securities right now. And the guy that we heard from yesterday, he's got a good market share on that. So there's different ways. There's apps that are coming out. Snoop Dogg has Mary Jane. There's media opportunities. There's a lot of different ways. I know we do a lot of franchises.
I meant to ask you about that. A lot of people ask me about investing, and I always tell them go to the solid products that they use.
That's a great thing.
It's, especially if you don't have a lot of money and you don't want to possibly gamble. Like I say, go to those solid. If you use Apple, your Apple computer, maybe put some money in the Apple.
That's something I make my son do.
Right.
When he gives me his Christmas list, like I want these sneakers, he has to look at the companies that make it. And then you can go to places like oneshareofstock.com and he has to buy a share of stock in the company. But I think an even better way to go with that is with an Acorn or with suppose you open an account.
You invested in Acorn?
No, I'm not.
3 times.
No, it's free.
I'm like,
because
I'm already ready.
What I'm talking about it is because I should say the investment option in it is that S&P 500 exchange traded fund, or suppose to go to your point, suppose you use a lot of technology, and you open an account at TD Ameritrade for $50. You can buy an ETF that invests like a technology basket, and just what an ETF is, and that's really a way to go for small investors, is it's one security, but it's a basket of stocks. Right. Mm-hmm. Like there's a Vanguard technology ETF that has a little bit of Apple in it, a little bit of Google in it, a little bit of Facebook in it. So you're getting all these companies for the price of one share of stock. Right. So go to TD Ameritrade, open a stock trading account. Gosh, I use Apple all the time. Buy an ETF that invests in technology and add $5 to it every week. Mm-hmm. Add in, you're buying more and more. But the point of all of that is that we have to change the thought that you have to have a lot of money to invest.
Right.
So Angeline and I, we started last year because I was scared of the stock market. I had, people that lost money and they pull out and then it shoots up.
You haven't lost a penny till you sell.
You're right. So we started. I mean, I'm in it heavy dolo. But we started with, I think, $500, $1,000 G.
I don't remember how much.
It was like $1,000, and I think it was up to $4,000. But it was baby steps just to see how it works, just to be comfortable with everything.
That's it, baby
and now
steps.
I'm at a point where I'm on here every day like, oh, this is going, go for it. This is going, go
I
for
see
it.
you over there.
As soon as I hear you talk about it, I Google it, look it up. All right, let me go check this. That's, it's just.
I hear you over there. And all stock market investing, especially if you're doing something like mutual funds, which are a great way to go because, they're professionally managed. And again, the key is diversity. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Right. So when you buy these funds, you're getting a little piece of everything. But if everybody remembers this one word, you'll be solid. Drip.
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 Drip. Drop.
Drip. Drip. It's called
Drip
stands for Drip stand. We're not. It's not that kind of show.
Although that probably would not be a bad investment. No.
Drip stands for Dividend Reinvestment Program. So for example, I opened my son an account at TD Ameritrade. We bought a technology fund, and they're saying, "Do you want to drip the returns. What that means is when your stock pays dividends, instead of sending you a check for 50 cents, they're going to buy more stock. That's how you grow things. You compound it. So anytime you buy a stock, anytime you buy a mutual fund, anytime you buy anything, you're going to get an option to drip it. Just say yes.
Drip it out.
Drip it.
Dripping's always good.
Dripping's good.
Well, we appreciate you for joining us, man. This is a lot of knowledge. Where can people reach you if they don't know, or if you have a blog, or
Her
verify
Twitter.
my account. I'm sorry. It just verified my account. I'm just going to make sure I'm good. All right. So where can
It
they-
is hilarious.
Thank you. Where can they go to make sure they can get more information on investing and saving money?
You can, again, follow me on Twitter at stisdale1. You can always reach out to me at Black Enterprise. My email is tisdales@blackenterprise.com. And you can follow Stacy Tisdale on Facebook. And I can, I'm always putting up investment pieces and, always looking to reach out. But the best way to reach me is on Twitter, and I will respond. And I also love to share people's responses and comments.
Word.
We appreciate you joining us. Say your names. Give me your names again. I'm sorry. I'm going to be calling you guys
Stacy
more.
Tisdale.
Stacy Tisdale. And
Sirita.
Sarita Wright.
Sirita
Stacy
Wright. Black
Tisdale.
Enterprise. We
Yeah.
appreciate you joining us today. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
The Breakfast Club. Every weekday morning. Tune in